Hello again. We're going to start again. Now you guys are going to see how I interact with the people in my audience. Now we're going to be starting with a snippet. And this snippet is one of my favorite stories, but it is extremely complex. So you're going to have to stick with me on this. And I think it's an important story for me to review. Every few years I like to do this. Probably the last time I did it was maybe 5 to 10 years ago. Unless Kathy's right and I did it sooner. But I think it's important because you have the saying, remember the Alamo. Everybody wants you to remember the Holocaust. And I think people need to remember this because I don't ever want it replayed again. So we're going to learn this story. And so on your papers, it's the next to the last paper that I sent you. It starts out with, I have plenty of papers here. Do you both need it?
Yes, please.
Okay. So it's the next to the last paper, and it starts out, it's the Noah story. Now the sons of Noah. You see that on the paper? Okay. Now the sons of Noah. Got that? Okay. Now I'm going to read through it with you. And it is going to relate to the Ruth story. And because you've had a little bit of background, you're going to, some words, phrases are going to jump out at you. And you're going to say, oh, I hope I'm not understanding this the way I think I'm supposed to be understanding this. Because you're going to say the Noah story is going to take on a whole different picture to you. So we're going to read it, and we're going to have questions. Now the sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. What are the names of the sons of Noah, and in the right chronological order?
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth. I want you to remember that. Now, I want you to remember that because the author wants you to remember it, because he's going to tell you over and over again in that order. So why don't you open up your Bibles to Genesis 6:10, because I want you to see that the author is purposefully repeating the names and in that order for a reason. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 6, verse 10. Okay? And in 6:10, it says this. Noah became the father of 3 sons. Name them.
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Got that order? Okay, good. Go to 7:13. On the same day, Noah and...
Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
Okay, got the order? Good. And now we're starting this story off, back onto your paper, with Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham was the father of Canaan. These 3 were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was populated. Then Noah began farming, or became a man of the ground, and planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and became drunk, and uncovered himself inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan. What did you just hear for the second time?
Ham, the father of Canaan.
Oh, yes. Now, did the other sons get a son? The other of Noah's sons get a son named with them? No, Shem's son isn't named, and Japheth's son isn't named, but Ham's son is named, and twice, so that they're connected like this. Got that? Like this. Like this. They're connected. The author has connected them twice. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father and told his 2 brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon their shoulders and walked backward and covered the nakedness of their father. And their faces were turned away so that they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah awoke from his wine, he knew what his youngest son had done to him. So he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants he shall be to his brothers. He also said, Blessed be the Lord, or Yahweh, the God of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. May God enlarge Japheth, and let him dwell in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his servant. How often was let Canaan be his servant mentioned?
Twice.
Mm-mm.
No?
3 times. Well, let's see. The first one is servant of servants he shall be.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that he's a servant. Okay, good. Chapter 10. Now these are the records of the generations of, name them again.
Shem, and Japheth.
Okay, 4 times it's named. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Got that? Okay. The sons of Noah. And sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Ham were Cush, Mitzrayim. Cush is Ethiopia. Mitzrayim is Egypt. Put is another African nation. And Canaan. Got that? 4 sons he has. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Archite, and the Sinite, and the Arvadite, and the Zemarite, and the Hamathite. And afterwards the family of the Canaanite were spread abroad. The territory of the Canaanites extend from Sidon, as you go toward Gerar, as far as Gaza, as you go toward Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah and Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These are the sons of Ham, according to their families, according to their languages, by their lands, by their nations. Okay, I want to give you a map, and so those of you who are at home, please open the back of your Bible to the maps. You guys don't have to because you've got the map right in front of you that I sent you. And find a map of Canaan during the patriarch times so that you can see what we're doing, because we're going to find out where the Canaanites, Ham's son, went. Okay? So it says, it starts out with what town or city or place. The territory of the Canaanite, starting in verse 19, extended from what? Verse 19. Sidon. Go up to the top of your maps and you'll see Sidon. So put a dot there on your own maps. Okay, Sidon. Then it tells you as you go toward Gerar, and I'm not sure where that is, as far as Gaza. Go way down your map along the coast, and you will see Gaza way down here. Do you see it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so draw a line. Draw a line. As you go towards Sodom and Gomorrah. So now, Sodom and Gomorrah is at the bottom of the Dead Sea. So put in Sodom and Gomorrah down at the bottom of the Dead Sea.
It's not in there already?
It's not in there already. I should have put it in there. I did not. So I have you doing it. Sodom and Gomorrah, and Admah and Zeboim, which are other cities right there, but we don't have to put that down. So, look where I am. You go up to Sidon, down to Gaza, over to Sodom and Gomorrah, and you have kind of like a triangle. And that is where the Canaanite went to live. Got it?
What are we doing up at the top of Dead Sea?
The bottom of the set, you're drawing back up to Sidon again, so that you have a triangle. You see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Okay. And in this land are his sons. And it lists it. You don't have to write it down. The Heths, or the Hethites, the Zemarites, the Avadites, the Hamathites, the Sinites, the Archites, the Sidonites, the Hivites, the Girgashites, the Jebusites, and the Amorites. They all live there, and they are all the children of Canaan. Now, I have a question for you, and this is important. Yeah. These are the Canaanites, right? Sodom and Gomorrah, all these. Are they African? Are they African?
No.
No. Good question. I know it sounds like a strange question, but you need to answer that question.
Okay.
You kind of remember, Kathy?
No, I'm remembering something that they put a mark on him. And a lot of people think that the mark was making him African or black. Is that what you're saying?
Nope, I'm not even saying that.
Okay.
But there's something going on here. Okay. So you know that the Canaanites are here, right? And that our scripture says that Canaan was cursed.
Right.
Good. Okay. So we have to dispel a notion that was very prevalent in America throughout the years of slavery, and even up to the present, because I heard when I was in my 30s of a church that still taught this. And so we need to dispel it. And
isn't that what I just said, though?
No, not you're thinking of Cain
else.
and Cain.
Okay.
And we're talking about the Canaanites. And
Okay.
here's the gross, awful teaching from people who felt that the Bible gave the okay to having the Africans be slaves.
Because they were cursed.
Yes. They're cursed, and because from Ham we have two African, black African countries named. We also have, then all the Hamites are cursed. And since God says the Canaanite will be the servant, the Canaanite, Canaan will be the servant.
Yeah.
Therefore, Africans should and be slaves. Now, this was taught in a church nearby us about 30, when I was in my 30s, so maybe 30 years ago. I don't think it's taught anymore, but I never want it to be taught. And if you ever hear it, just get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, I'm going to explain to you how you can explain that this could not possibly have been and should have never been perpetrated in Christian churches, nor in the South or Southern churches during the time of slavery. So we're going to go back and we're going to really look at what's happening in this story. The first thing to look at, here's the questions that I want you, is the birth order. What's the birth order of Noah's sons?
Shem, Ham, Japheth.
Good. Okay. Now, here's more questions that I don't want you to answer quite yet. Why is Canaan named when all the other sons of Noah do not have their sons named? We have to answer that. Why is Canaan named? The next question. How could Noah have known his youngest son? Did you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
His youngest son had done something to him if all his youngest had done was to see him naked.
Wait, why?
Yeah, you don't have to write it down, but
write it down.
no, but you do have to ask this question of yourself: how could Noah have known what his youngest son had done if all he did was look at him when he was in a drunken stupor and naked on the ground?
How was Ham the youngest son when it says Shem, Ham, and Japheth?
Oh, so glad you asked
was
that question.
confusing me. That's why I was
It
asking.
confuses everybody. So, who was it who looked at his nakedness, at his father's nakedness? It was Ham. Is he the youngest son?
No.
No. He's not the youngest son. So we have a problem here, don't we? We have a lot of problems. So if you feel a little mixed up right in the next few minutes, it's not because you're not good. No, it's not because you've been sleep deprived or because it's because unless you put in the proper pieces of the puzzle, you're going to be lost in this story. And most people do not put in the proper pieces of the puzzle, and therefore they can come up with stories like the Africans should be the slaves of all. Oh. So we're putting the puzzle in place. Okay, so how could Ham be the youngest when he's not the youngest? You're right. So it couldn't be Ham. Or it couldn't be the youngest. It couldn't be Japheth, right? Okay. But now, the next. How could Canaan be punished for his father's sin? When the Bible says the son cannot be punished for the father's sin. Yet Canaan is punished. So we have another problem, don't we?
And can
Kathy?
I answer it?
No.
Wait.
I'm just throwing up.
What? Wait.
Now Kathy's been with me. I only made her
No,
cry.
it's not-
I
it's
only
just-
made her cry one time. One time. It's the only time I made her cry. Right, Kathy?
It wasn't from what you taught me, though. It was from something I've read in the Bible.
Oh, right.
Why is Canaan sounding like a person when you are referring to
Canaan is a person.
Who is
He's
it?
the son. Well,
Ham?
remember, Ham's son. It says it up here twice. Ham was the father of Canaan.
I thought they were talking about a place.
No,
You know how
he's the
sometimes
father.
we're like the father of many nations, and I thought
No,
the king.
no.
Okay.
Oh, good. See, these
See,
are the
that's what I
questions
was-
we need. So please ask all your dumb questions.
Okay.
You know, and by that I mean just
that was a dumb question.
what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say
I know
was,
what you're
if
saying.
you think it's a dumb question, ask it anyway. That's what I was trying. I always get myself in trouble, especially with Betty Ann. So,
Yeah, it was Betty.
okay, so Canaan is a person. He's the son of Ham.
Gotcha.
So why is Canaan cursed? 3 times he's said to be the servant. A servant. He's cursed with servanthood when it was the father in the story that does something or whatever. Okay, that's another question. How could Ham, and here's the question you asked. How could Ham be called the youngest son if he was the middle son? Okay, now we got a lot of questions here. So please stick with me and ask your questions. Do not be afraid to ask me questions. This is important. I know it's all mixed up in your mind right now, but we're going to fill in the blanks. Okay, let's go back to see what really happened. Number 1, how often does it tell us that Ham was the father of Canaan? How often did we see?
2.
2 times. Okay, so none of the other Shem or Japheth, their son isn't mentioned. So what has the author done with Ham and Canaan?
Link them
Second.
together.
Link them together so that you think of one with the other. Got it? So
No,
got
I
Ham.
never got it.
Okay, because
Link
the
together.
Ham and Canaan are linked
Oh, okay,
together
okay.
because that's a good question. See, and these are questions that you got to ask because my people online cannot ask these questions. So you get the benefit of asking the questions for the people who are going to be watching me. Okay, so Ham and Canaan are linked together. Got it? So they are linked together. So what one does, the other is there because they're linked together, right? Now watch what happens in verse 20. Then Noah began farming and planted a vineyard, and he drank the wine and became drunk. Remember, drinking, getting drunk is wrong. As far as scripture is concerned, it's the fool who does that. And Noah's the first one to show us that a fool does this. And what did he do? Uncovered himself. Now, this should be ringing bells because some of you, we've read some scripture about uncovering, haven't we? Inside his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, what did he? Saw the nakedness of his father. Hold on to that. Circle that. Circle uncovered himself. Circle saw the nakedness of his father. And told his 2 brothers. But Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon both their shoulders and walked backwards and what? Covered the nakedness. Circle that. Of their father. And their faces were turned away so that they did not what? See their father's nakedness. 4th time something is mentioned about their father's nakedness. 4. So we have uncovered, covered, seeing, nakedness. Where in the world have we seen all this type of thing going on? Remember the Holiness Code? The Holiness Code was surrounded by an inclusia.
Oh, the children.
Go.
Children and then sexual
Right. Remember, on either side of the Holiness Code was sexual aberration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to the holiness code is found in Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19. So we're going to go to Leviticus 18.
Okay.
Leviticus 18. Leviticus 18.
I have it.
Oh, good.
She has her papers from the Bible study. But since I can't communicate today, she's looking at me like I have 2 heads.
Leviticus 18. Okay. In the beginning, the first 3 verses, he says, do not do, get that, circle do not do, in verses 1 to 3 in Leviticus 18, do not do what is done, circle done, in the land of Egypt where you lived, nor are you to do, circle do, what is done in the land of Canaan. So you're not to do what was done in Egypt, not to do what is done in Canaan where you were going. Got it? Okay, and what do they do? Verse 6, they uncover the nakedness. Verse 9, they uncover the nakedness. Verse 10, they uncover the nakedness. Verse 11, they uncover the nakedness. Verse 12, they uncover the nakedness. Verse 13, they uncover the nakedness. Verse 14, verse 15, verse 16, verse 17, they uncover the nakedness. And what did we say was uncovering the nakedness of someone?
Having sex.
Having sex.
And then
It's a euphemism for having.
Don't have sex
outside of
relatives.
marriage. Okay,
Not
and relatives, right. It's an incestuous situation. That's what the Egyptians did where you were. That's what the Canaanites do where you're going. So don't do it. Got it? Don't do it. Don't uncover the nakedness.
So
then,
Ham had...
yeah, hold on. You're getting there. You leaped ahead.
I think you did teach this, because
Verse
I do
20.
remember this.
Verse 20. Chapter 20. Go to chapter 20.
Leviticus.
Of Leviticus. In fact, it's on your paper. The last sheet of the papers that I sent to you is Leviticus 20, verse 17. Now remember, Leviticus 19 is the holiness code. On either side is sexual aberration. Now watch what it says. If there is a man who takes his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, so that he what? Sees her nakedness. And she sees his nakedness. It is a disgrace, and they shall be cut off in the sight of the sons of their people. He has what? Uncovered his sister's nakedness. So uncovering the nakedness is equated with seeing the nakedness. Got it? Okay. And so we go back to the Noah story. Got it? Let's go back to the Noah story. Uncovering the nakedness is the same as seeing the nakedness. Seeing the nakedness is the same as uncovering the nakedness. And it is having sex. Right?
Mm-hmm. How do we know that it's having sex?
Because it's equated with that in other parts of Scripture, plus the Hebrew. The Jewish people also let us know in their commentaries and things like that, all along. It's a euphemism, but we do know that that's what it means. I could get the books out.
No.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the question. So why does it say first that Noah uncovered himself?
Okay, so he uncovered himself, and so so we know he's uncovered. So
But
we
would
have
he have like, is that because he was looking for sex? Or?
I don't think that and it doesn't tell us that because of the consequences, what the consequences are, but he's uncovered. So his nakedness is uncovered. Okay? Now, over and over it says, uncovered the nakedness. They saw the nakedness, right? Over and over. So what do we know happened in that tent when Ham, who's linked with Canaan, comes in?
It was a sex act.
Bingo. Yeah.
But you did teach this.
Yeah. It was a sexual act. Now, the Jews have, I've got their books in my library. In fact, their study Bible, the Jewish Hebrew study Bible. And they will tell you right there that it is that has always been known to be an incestuous homosexual act, which we leave out, of course, in our.
Homosexual.
That's what.
Oh yeah, homosexual.
So
Because
uncovering
it's two men. It's
So
yeah, because uncovering the nakedness
So
is a
Ham
man
and
with
his
a man,
father?
which is also in chapter 20 of Leviticus. A man with a man, a woman with a
So
woman.
Ham and Noah.
So Ham and Noah, and who's linked to Ham?
Canaan.
Canaan.
You know, the answer, I know that's probably what you're saying. That's why he could curse Canaan for the sins of his father. But there is something in Scripture that says, I think it's in the New Testament, that says that he will visit the sins of the father, no, wait a minute, to the third and fourth generation.
Right, it's in the
to
Old
those
Testament.
that hate him.
That's the
But
sin.
the ones that love him, he's not going to do that to.
I know. That's visiting the sin. That means the sin goes on generation after generation, not the punishment.
Oh, not the curse?
Not the punishment.
Oh,
Not
okay.
the punishment, unless the son does it.
Okay,
If the son does it, then he gets punished.
okay.
But the sin, my sin visits my children and their children, and it just keeps going. But the punishment itself does not go on the child. It does not. So Canaan. So now how do we get youngest son, and Ham's not the youngest son. So who's the youngest son? Well, that's Japheth. If we're thinking Western civilization, let's back up. We're Hebrew. We're thinking with our Hebrew cap. And with our Hebrew cap, my grandchildren, which are in the other room, Izzy, Noah, and Abigail, they're not my grandchildren. They are. But in reality, they're my children. Now, how do I know this? Well, Scripture tells me, for one thing, who is Jesus? The son of?
God. Mary?
Oh, man.
A son of man?
Joseph?
David.
Oh.
Ah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, 1,000 years separating David from Jesus, but he's the son of David. When Laban catches up with Jacob and all his wives and his children, and Laban's running after Jacob because Jacob has left, and Jacob's been his good luck charm, and he doesn't want Jacob to leave. When he finally catches up to Jacob, he goes and confronts Jacob, and he says, "You stole away with my daughters and my sons."
Oh, okay. So his grandchildren.
His grandchildren are his sons. When Jacob's genealogy is given at the end of Genesis, it gives the genealogy of his sons and daughters and grandchildren. But it's called they're all called his sons and daughters. Because in Hebrew thinking, your sons and daughters, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren, they're your sons and daughters. So, when we get down to the genealogy of Ham, so look on your paper. In chapter 10, do you see the big 10 there on your paper? Mm-hmm. Now, these are the records of the generations of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah. And sons were born to them after the flood. The sons of Ham were Cush, that's Ethiopia, Mitzrayim, which is Egypt, and Put, and who's his youngest son?
Canaan.
There's the youngest.
Now, why is
son.
it the youngest?
Because it says he knew what his youngest son had done to him.
Okay, so when you're talking about in chronological order, it's the last one that's the
Yes.
first one.
It's Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So it's Ham, right? Okay? But Noah calls it his youngest son. So who are the sons of Ham? Cush,
Mizraim,
Mithraim, which is Egypt, Put, and Canaan. He's the youngest son.
Now, why would he be mentioned last then? Why?
Because he's the
Oh,
youngest
he's the
son.
youngest son. Oh, I'm
Youngest.
sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah. Okay.
He's the
So-
youngest son.
Okay.
So who was in there? We know Ham was in there. Cain. And why does it say what his youngest son had done to him? This becomes really yucky, and I have to do this in front of video. Okay. Why does it say what his youngest son had done to him if his youngest had only seen his nakedness? Does everybody know what a homosexual act is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know afterwards when the homosexual act has been done on? Does a man know?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Now, we're going to read the Lot story, and he won't know what his daughters have done, because that's a natural act, right? But when a homosexual act is very unnatural and very painful and very, it's just not a nice act. And so that's what was done to him. Now, his youngest son is Canaan, right? And so where are they? Right here in Canaan. This is where the sons of Canaan come in right here. Who is a part of Canaan? Sodom and Gomorrah. And what do they do? Homosexual acts. They're Canaanites. That's what Canaanites do.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's where the Canaanites lived?
Oh, yeah. The Canaanites are right here.
When God sent Abraham to Canaan and told him to kill all the Canaanites, that's where
That's it.
That's
Moses.
the original.
Yeah, this is it. These are all the lists of names.
Yeah, Moses.
Yeah.
So that's the original Israel?
Yeah. What Moses came into were with all the ites.
Okay.
All the ites. This is the promised land, but all the ites are there, and we got to get rid of the ites because they do infant sacrifices and they do incestuous worship acts.
And that's what the Palestinians are now claiming as their territory. Is Jerusalem in
Yes.
there? Okay.
Jerusalem is here. Bethlehem is here.
So
all of
was it
Israel is right there where the Canaanites are. And the Canaanites do the Sodom and Gomorrah thing.
So that wasn't known as Canaan until this time.
Oh, no, it was known as Canaan until Canaan is born and his family moves there.
Right. But before then it wasn't.
Before
Canaan.
then, no.
Okay.
No. Now, go ahead.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Noah, was he in a drunken state
He's
when he uncovered himself?
I believe so. Yeah, because that's what if you're in a drunken state, what are you going to do? Foolish things. You're going to uncover yourself, which is a foolish act.
Did he do that expecting someone to see it?
I think not, because he curses Canaan as though what he has done is wrong, and I don't think he has any part of that, but he does uncover. Yeah, he went in a tent, and he did uncover himself. But that's all prelude. I do not believe that Noah had anything to do with this, except that he's drunk, and when you're drunk, you do stupid things, just like Lot will do a stupid thing. There will be incest in his relationship with his daughters, and it's because he's drunk.
You know what? Maybe it wasn't a stupid thing, because when you're drunk, a lot of people start to sweat.
Yeah.
So if he sweated, then he...
Right. Whatever
he
the reason
himself.
is, he uncovers himself, and Ham comes in with Canaan. That's what's happened. And they do what Canaanites do. A homosexual act.
Well, then Canaan was with Ham.
The reason why I say that is because they're linked together.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he had...
And because
both of
Canaan,
them.
yes,
So
because
Canaan
it's Canaan.
was in
So it doesn't mention his name except to say that. And two reasons we know he was in there. They're linked together. Their names. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Ham was the father of Canaan. Ham was the father of Canaan.
So did
Okay, that. And also, who's punished?
Canaan.
Canaan.
So did Canaan do the act also then?
Oh.
Or
Well,
that's
he
what
Yeah.
this is super-
Oh,
Okay.
because what comes from the Canaanites?
Homosexual.
Homosexual acts. Okay. Now, why is this important? Because if the Ham was punished, then all his 4 sons would have been punished with servanthood, right?
Right.
But he's not cursed. So there can't be a curse on the Hamites, which is what has been perpetrated for centuries. That there's, got that? Okay. Who was cursed? Canaan. And he's white. Right? He's not African.
Right.
He's not African. So you can't say that Africans were cursed with servanthood or slavery.
Right.
You can't. But people do. The curse of Ham. And I knew several women in my Bible study who believed that. Yeah. In the past, I've taught.
I have another.
They had heard that. Go ahead, Kathy.
I have another question. Now, it says that Ham went and told his brothers about this. Now, did he tell them that their father was naked, or did he tell them about the sexual acts?
I really don't know, but it probably was that Dad's uncovered, ha ha ha, type of thing. So they went in. But all this repetition of uncovering, covering, nakedness, seeing the nakedness, all those words are in Leviticus. And so we get a different picture because we've compared scripture with scripture, and Moses wrote the Torah. So it coincides. Got that? Okay, that is our snippet, and we took a lot of time on our snippet. I am so sorry, but that's all right because every once in a while I think something is important enough to take care of. Okay? Good. Let's go to Act 2. And what I may do is go, if you don't mind, a little overtime because I'm not going to cover everything like I want to if we don't go a little overtime. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. If you have to leave, you have to leave. Okay, let's go to the first Act 2 in the barley fields. It's not okay?
But nothing.
No,
Act 2. Okay, good. I told you it was going to be really interesting. A little bit. I knew you'd be, oh no, this is too complex. But once we start talking about it, if you do the puzzle that way, all the pieces fit in. Mm-hmm. Pieces that didn't fit in, if you do it the old way, if you think the old way, now the puzzle pieces fit. Okay, we're going to do our play. So we need a narrator. Kathy, would you be our narrator? Mm-hmm. Kay, would you be Naomi? Karen, would you be Ruth? And we need Boaz, I believe. So, Betty Ann, would you be Boaz? Mm-hmm. Okay, now you know to stop at the stars. So let's go.
So she gleaned in the field until evening. Then she beat out what she had gleaned, and it was about an ephah of barley. And she took it up and went into the city. Her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned. She also brought out and gave her what food she had left over after being satisfied. And her mother-in-law spoke to her.
Where did you glean today, and where have you worked? Blessed be the man who took notice of you.
So she told her mother-in-law with whom she had worked.
The man's name with whom I work today is Boaz.
May he be blessed by the Lord, whose kindness has not forsaken the living or the dead. The man is a close relative of ours, one of our kinsman redeemers.
Besides, he said to me, you shall keep close by my young men until they have finished all my harvest.
It is good, my daughter, that you go out with his young women, lest in another field you be assaulted.
So she kept close to the young woman of Boaz, gleaning until the end of the barley and wheat harvest.
Okay.
And
Oh, good.
and she lived with her mother.
Sorry. Okay.
It's all right, I'm always interrupting you, so that's payback.
Okay. We see again the word hesed. So go to the second time Naomi speaks, and it says here, may he be blessed by the Lord, or Yahweh, whose kindness. And that's the word chesed. What did we say about the word chesed? It's really hard to translate it because there's so many good translations for it. It's loving kindness. It's love. It's covenantal love. There's a whole lot of ways to do that. And Ruth is filled with chesed. And now, whose chesed are we talking about here?
Boaz.
Read again.
The Lord.
The Lord.
Read again.
Oh, whose kindness.
Read again. What guess do you come up with? Is it the Lord or is it Boaz?
I think in another study that we did, wasn't Ruth, that you said it was both, that they're linked together.
I think it's so ambiguous that you have to come to the conclusion that what is the one who has the said is both.
Is that H-E-S-E-D?
H-E-S-E-D. Both the Lord and Boaz have hesed, because both of them act in concert with one another, don't they? Boaz has hesed, Yahweh has hesed, and so because the author has put it this way, we can't say one or the other. It's too ambiguous, so it's both of them. That's what I like.
I thought hesed was linked to characteristics
Of Yahweh,
yeah.
yes.
But it can be too.
But and when a man is that way, then he is acting like Yahweh,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Yes.
Is Yahweh Jesus, or is Yahweh just God in general?
Yahweh is the covenantal God. He's the one who makes covenant with his people. Okay? Elohim, what we translated as God, is the creator God. He's the one all-powerful. But Yahweh is the one who has loving kindness toward his people. Okay, let's go to the next act. We have Naomi.
My daughter, should I not seek rest for you, that it may be well with you? Is not Boaz our relative, with whose young women you were? See, he is winnowing barley tonight at the threshing floor. Wash, therefore, and anoint yourself, and put on your cloak, and go down to the threshing floor. But do not make yourself known to the man until he has finished eating and drinking. But when he lies down, observe the place where he lies. Then go and uncover his feet, and lie down, and he will tell you what to do.
All that you say, I will do.
Now, what word flashed out at you?
Uncover.
Uncover. Oh my goodness. And this is purposeful. He's dragging in that word. Oh my goodness. But does it say?
To uncover the feet.
Bingo. Got it. And this is purposeful. It's going to be mentioned 3 times in this story because the author wants you to see this. There is an uncovering, but it's not the kind of uncovering we're expecting, is it? Because it's just uncovering his feet. Excellent. Okay, so now let's go on.
So she went down to the threshing floor and did just as her mother-in-law had commanded her. And when Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, does that mean he was drunk?
Good for you. That's a good question. Hold on to it till we get done here.
His heart was merry. He went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain. Then she came softly and uncovered his feet and lay down. At midnight the man was startled and turned over, and behold, a woman lay at his feet.
Who are you?
I am Ruth, your servant. Spread your wings over your servant, for you are a kinsman redeemer.
May you be blessed by the Lord, my daughter. You have made this last kindness greater than the first, in that you have not gone after young men, whether rich or poor. And now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you all that you ask. For all my fellow townsmen know that you are a worthy woman. And now it is true that I am a kinsman redeemer. Yet there is a kinsman redeemer nearer than I. Remain tonight, and in the morning, if he will redeem you, good, let him do it. But if he is not willing to redeem you, then, as the Lord lives, I will redeem you. Lie down until the morning.
So she lay at his feet until the morning, but arose before one could recognize another.
Let it not be known that the woman came to the threshing floor, bringing the garment you are wearing, and hold it out.
So she held it, and he measured out 6 measures of barley and put it on her. And she went into the city.
Okay. Did you notice the word daughter? How many times is it given? And who says it? We know one time Naomi says it.
Yes.
But who else calls her daughter?
He calls her twice.
Boaz, right. What are they both saying to Ruth? She's a Moabitess. What are they saying to her?
She's family.
She's family. Yes. They're saying she's family. And so, and we notice the uncover. Did you see that? And lying at the feet. Okay. What will be the clues that help Boaz interpret her actions correctly? Because when she's there, and she's uncovered, and she's a Moabitess, what might he think she is doing?
Seducing him?
Seducing him. What tells you she's not? What told Boaz she was not?
She just uncovered his feet.
Okay, she just uncovered his feet and lying at his feet. That is important for you to remember. What else? What does she say to him?
You are my kinsman redeemer.
Yeah, but even before that, that's right.
Spread your wings.
Spread your wings. What was she saying to him? Spread your wings of protection. What is she asking for? Go to Ezekiel. Go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 16. Ezekiel is a little bit past Daniel. So if you can find Daniel. It's right before Daniel. Sorry about that. Right before Daniel. A little bit after Isaiah is what I meant to say. Ezekiel 16. Verse 8. Ezekiel 16, verse 8. And the Lord is speaking here. Yahweh is speaking. Then I passed by you, Israel, and saw you, Israel, 16:8. And behold, you were at the time for love. So I spread my skirt over you and covered your nakedness. I also swore to you and entered into a covenant with you so that you became mine, declares the Lord God. So what is he saying of Israel? What kind of covenant is he making with Israel here when he covers her nakedness?
Protection?
Protective covenant.
Yeah, but what kind of covenant is it? He's saying, I'm making you, bingo, making you mine.
Yeah.
Marriage. So she says the same words, doesn't she?
Yes.
As Yahweh says. So she's proposing marriage.
Yes.
Immediately she proposes marriage. And what does he think? She's not a harlot. She's uncovered only his feet, and she lies down at his feet. He knows immediately. Now, how do you know he's not reading this as she's a harlot? Ooh, how do you know? What does he say after she says those words?
She calls him his daughter?
Okay, she calls him his daughter. That's a good one.
Blessed.
Right. He calls on a blessing Now, is he going to bless her if she's coming as a harlot?
No, because Noah cursed.
Noah cursed his son when his grandson did a sexual perverse action. Good for you. But Boaz does what?
Blesses her.
Blesses. He's not going to bless somebody who acts in a bad way. As a harlot, is he? Okay. Good for you. Now, here's what I want to do. Go to your next page. The page that has 2 columns, and it has Lot and Boaz. Now, remember, we've been talking about narrative type scenes, right? It's a scene that's played out and then played over again and over again and over again. It's a different time. It's a different place. It's different people. Remember that? But it all has the same what?
Wording?
Yeah, furniture or elements to it. Every scene has the same elements to it. It's a different time, different place, different people, but it has the same elements in it. And watch how the author identifies the story of Boaz and Ruth with the story of Lot and his daughters. So, go to the paper that says Lot and Boaz, and I want you guys and then read it to each other, okay? Each of you read it to each other out loud. One of you do Lot and the other do Boaz.
After the destruction of Sodom, Lot settled in a cave, he and his 2 daughters. Now the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man in the land to come in to us as befits the way of all the earth. Let us have our father drink wine and lie
So you're
with
going to
him,
find the
so
same
that we
elements
may keep
that
seed
are in
alive
one
by
story
our
in the
father."
other story. So circle it.
So they had their father drink wine that night. Then the firstborn went in and lay with her father, but she knew nothing of her lying down or her rising up. But he knew nothing of her lying down or rising up. On the morrow, that the firstborn said to the younger, Here, yesternight I lay with father. Let us have him drink wine tonight as well. Then you go in and lie with him, so that we may keep seed alive by our father. They had their father drink wine that night as well, but he knew nothing of her lying down or her rising up. And Lot's 2 daughters became pregnant by their father. The firstborn bore a son and called his name Moab. He was the father of today. The younger also bore a son and called his name Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Amorites.
After the famine. So Ruth went down to the threshing floor. When Boaz had eaten and drunk, and his heart was merry, he went to lie down at the end of the heap of grain, and she came secretly and uncovered his feet and lay down. It happened in the middle of the night that the man was startled and bent forward, and behold, a woman was lying at his feet. He said, Who are you? And she answered, I am Ruth, your maid. So spread your covering, a wing, over your maid, for you are a kinsman redeemer. Then he said, May you be blessed by the Lord, my daughter. You have made this last kindness greater than the first. Now, my daughter, do not fear. I will do for you whatever you ask. Now, it is true I am a kinsman redeemer. However, there is a kinsman redeemer closer than I. Remain this night, and when morning comes, if he will redeem you, let him redeem you. But if he does not wish to redeem you, then I will redeem you, as the Lord lives. Lie down until morning. So she lay at his feet until morning, and he said, Let it be known the woman came to the threshing floor. Oh, let it not be known the woman came to the threshing floor.
So what is it that connects these 2 stories together? Okay? There's a lot of phrases and ideas here that connect the 2 stories. So discuss it amongst yourselves. What is it that connects these 2 stories? What are the elements that connect the 2? Because there's a lot of different elements here.
He did drink wine, and the women came secretly. That was one, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, they came when?
After
At
that.
night.
Oh, at night.
Both of it says that at night. And so go ahead and work on it. And we're not doing it together quite yet. I want you to work on it together and think about it.
Definitely would.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You said also about the heart was merry, like he wasn't drunk, because you said that that was part of like scripture that you could
drink.
Yeah,
Your
drink
heart
until
is merry,
merry.
and it's okay.
yeah, but you can't go past that. And
Past
get-
that. Okay.
get drunk.
How do you
So
know when
I
you're
am
going past
not-
that? I mean, your
You
heart
have
is
to be
married.
really, really careful. And of course, they drank wine all the time. They would know. It was a
Yeah.
common thing to
Yeah,
drink.
so they would feel it.
They would feel it. They would know.
Is Moab coming to his little son?
Yeah, there's Moab. And what is Ruth?
I'm over it.
Moab.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Okay, let's get together on it and see how the author of Ruth has purposefully looked back on the Lot situation and brought it together with the Ruth situation. What is the main reason why he would want to do that?
Contrast?
Good. To compare and contrast what happened with Lot and happened in the Ruth story. And there's a big contrast, isn't there? For one thing, Lot is what? With wine. Drunk. Okay. We know that because he's able to do what? What does he do after he gets drunk? He what? What does he do after he's drunk?
He goes to sleep.
Sleep, yes. And he stays asleep through,
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
knows nothing that's going on.
he knows nothing that's going on. He is so soused that he can't figure out what is going on.
He's wasted.
Now, somebody
That
asked
seems
me,
impossible to me, but I don't
Yeah.
know any
No,
further.
but people do get soused, and they get that soused that they can't even wake up for that. We're going to
That's
even
not what
see.
I
Okay, the next in the Ruth story, though, what does it say of Boaz?
He was woken up. and
Yes,
startled.
just okay.
So
So
he
he's
did
not soused because he.
Eats.
Got started.
Yeah, and he's eaten and he's drunk. And what happens after once he gets startled, doesn't he? So he what?
Wakes up.
Wakes up.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I want to take you to Ecclesiastes so that you know that what I'm saying is true.
Wait, where is it in this part that says Lot goes to sleep? don't see
Because
that part.
when it says when he woke up, he knew nothing.
Oh,
Ecclesiastes,
gotcha.
yeah.
I was just wondering.
Well,
that too.
when he knew nothing.
Yeah.
When they about their lying down or their rising up. Go to Ecclesiastes chapter 9. Ecclesiastes is after Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes. So right after Proverbs, you found Ecclesiastes. Drink some more.
It's not working.
I know.
I'm trying. It does not work.
I know. Her children have been sick. Ecclesiastes 9. I know you are. Ecclesiastes 9:7. And the writer of Ecclesiastes says, and this is common, go then, Ecclesiastes 9:7. The writer says,
There. I'm so excited.
it says, go then, eat your bread in happiness and drink your wine.
With a cheerful heart.
Yes, so you can drink until you are merry. That's the word. Now but there's a limit. Okay? Yeah, it lifts up your heart. Okay. Now I do not drink. My husband does not drink. I want to make sure everybody knows. I don't believe that I should be drinking. Number one, I'm a part of my church in leadership. So leaders are asked not to drink. Okay, but number two, I never did. My husband didn't because he was raised in a family where his father was drunk, and so he put in very, very bad memories for him, and he never wanted to do that with his children. But drinking until you're merry is an acceptable thing. So, but it has to be very little. And try to remember that in the Hebrew, in the Hebrew religion, they would mix 10 parts water with 1 part wine. It was very diluted. So to drink till you're merry, you just knew where that lasted. Okay, what else is going on here? When do these two incidents happen? Parentheses. What's in your parentheses?
After the famine, after the destruction of Sodom.
After what then? Both of them occur after what?
Disasters?
Yeah, and disasters come because?
Punishment?
Yes, so these are judgments.
Judgment.
Yes, so each of these stories occur after a judgment. One is the famine, and we read that in the first verse of Ruth. The other is the Sodom and Gomorrah judgment, destruction. What else is going on besides the fact that people are drinking? What else can you link? How else can you link these two stories?
She said they're sleeping.
Okay, good. There's sleeping going on. Yes, yes. What's a contrast? What are some contrasts?
They both lie down, but do it in different ways.
Yeah, one lies down and has no idea what has happened. The other lies down, and because he isn't drunk, he realizes what?
That someone's at his
Somebody's there.
But then
at
even
his
the
feet.
women lie down in different ways. They have sex with their
good for
father.
you. The women are lying
She-
down, but two women are lying down with their father. What is Ruth doing?
She's laying at his feet.
Purposefully.
Purposely.
It says
Yeah.
that she's lying at his feet, and it says it 3 times. Okay, so that you know this is not going to be a repeat. Go ahead.
With Ruth, this must be some kind of a custom of the Jewish people because Naomi talks it over with her.
You know
Tells
what?
her what to do.
Could that have been you know what? One of my scholars says yes, that this in itself was a proposal. Lying at the feet of the man was in itself a proposal. Okay? So you're very, very good. That's very good. Although we do not see it in other places of Scripture. He's thinking because, like you said, Naomi tells her, she does it, and he responds well to it. It looks like it's part of the proposal.
Jewish culture.
And Jewish culture, right. Does look like that. Okay, what else is going on here? What are they all in need of? In both stories, the women are in need of
someone to further the line. of
yes,
seed.
they're in need of seed, and therefore they need a
Kinsman redeemer.
kinsman redeemer.
Okay.
They both need, and so now both of them are called what?
Both of who would have called it?
The Lot's girls and Ruth are called what?
Daughter.
Daughters. Yes. So Lot is the father, and Boaz is like a surrogate father. Yeah. He will become the husband, but at this point he's yes, a fatherly type person in this story. Yes. Okay. Anything else? They're both in need of a kinsman redeemer. In the first story, we have incest. In the second story, we have a marriage proposal. Mm-hmm. And of course, in the first story, we find out the beginning of the what group of people?
Moabites.
And what's Ruth?
Moabite.
Yes. Had you ever seen that before? Yeah, isn't that interesting? This is where Ruth comes from. This incestuous relationship she comes from. No wonder they were not happy, or they treated Ruth in an improper way because of what she comes from. Oh. No wonder Boaz could almost think that she was doing the wrong thing, because that's what Moabites do. Mm-hmm. Incestuous acts. Right.
The girls the daughters that slept with Lot.
Yes.
So they had no faith that there would be any other way.
They're like, now try to remember approximately what age might they have been, since they're not married. Young teenagers. You know, between 13 and 15 is when girls got married in that day and age. Mm-hmm. So here they are, the two teenagers, mm-hmm. and they've just seen the cities destroyed. What might they assume?
There's no hope.
There's no hope for us. All the cities of the world have just been destroyed by God's judgment. Mm. So what are we going to do? See, this is where fear came in. Mm-hmm. We're the end of mankind. Right? And so fear, someone within fear, now I forget. She told me what fear represented.
Oh, false evidence.
False evidence appearing real. That's good. False evidence appearing real. What was their false evidence?
That Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, represented all the cities, yes. And so they're fearful, and they think they're the last of the human race, instead of what should they have done?
Trusted God.
Trusted God.
And they shouldn't have sojourned into the tent of their father.
This is right. Okay, go to the last one, because last page, which is 3 columns, and it says Noah, Lot, and Ruth, because it doesn't stop at Lot and Ruth. Would you believe there's connections even back to the Noah story? So let's read those. We only have time for reading the first column and discussing it. So read the first column to each other and discuss it, how it relates to the other 2 columns. Just relate the first column to the other 2 columns, which you've already read. So read the first column only.
Yeah, we've already read these on the other sheet.
Okay. Then Shem and Japheth took a cloak.
Okay. Sorry. Now Noah was a man of...
You forgot the parentheses.
After the flood. After the flood. Now Noah was a man of the ground. He planted a vineyard. When he drank from the wine, he became drunk and uncovered himself in the middle of his tent. Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness and told his 2 brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a cloak. They put it on the shoulders of the 2 of them and walked backward to cover their father's nakedness. Their faces were turned backward. Their father's nakedness they did not see. Now when Noah awoke from his wine, he knew what his youngest son had done to him. He said, "Cursed be Canaan, servant of servants, may he be to his brothers." This time when you read it, it's kind of... You knew what was going on, didn't you? Made a big difference. Okay, we're going to be together because I want to end on time for the recording. So let's discuss what were the same elements in each one of them.
Well, they were both after a curse.
Both
all three of
after
them were
judgment.
after- yeah.
They were all of them follow a judgment. That ties them together because the author of Ruth is trying to tie these other incidents together with his incident. What else ties the Noah story in with the other two?
Drinking of wine.
Yes, drunkenness or drinking of wine. Yes, drinking of wine. What else? What's a good word that's there in the Noah story that's also in the Ruth story? That word.
Nakedness.
Uncovered is in both of them, right? Uncovered. What does Ruth do, though? Does she uncover the nakedness? No.
Right.
She uncovers the feet, right?
And there's a cloak mentioned too.
Ah, yes. Isn't there in the story of Noah? There's a cloak mentioned. And in both the Noah story and the Lot story, one in the Noah story, he knew what was done to him afterwards. In the Lot story, Lot had no idea.
No.
And we can imagine why. But on the other hand, because Boaz is not drunk, he knows what's going on. He wakes up. Doesn't he? In the Noah story, what happens to Canaan? He is what? Cursed. In the story about Ruth, what happens?
She's blessed.
She's blessed. Okay. There it goes.
What was the thing about the cloak?
Well, remember in the Noah story, he's covered, and then we have a covering of that she uncovers his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, and she asks for a covering, doesn't she?
Right.
So what the author is doing this purposefully, bringing these three stories in purposefully, because what is he doing with the Ruth story?
He's showing that they're tied in. It's tied in.
It's tied in, but what? Is Ruth the same as the other two stories?
She's
No,
different.
no. He's purposefully showing that her story is different. Because what does she do?
She only uncovers
She
his
only
feet.
uncovers his feet. Where does she lie?
At his feet.
At his feet. Is she lying with him?
No.
Is she uncovering his nakedness?
No.
No. Is he drunk?
No.
No.
Do you see all the different things? And there's daughters mentioned in this story. In Lot's story, there was a father-daughter. In this story, there's a father figure and a daughter. But in the Noah's story, there's a what?
Father and a son.
And a son. Okay, so we have all these links together, and it exonerates Ruth the Moabitess, who came from that incestuous act between Lot and his daughters. But she's not like that. She's a true daughter of the Israelites.
She says that to Naomi right in the very beginning.
Yes!
Your God will be
My God.
And,
Your people will be my people.
yeah.
Right? That's exactly what's happening.
Which shows us that the Gentiles were always meant to.
Oh,
as
always
part of
meant to be
salvation.
part of, because what does God say to Abraham from the very beginning? You will be a blessing to the nations.
Mm-hmm.
You will bless the nations. Yep. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one, but it's not exactly tied to this.
Go ahead.
When Paul says in the New Testament that we were grafted in, to me, he wasn't saying something new. He was just reiterating what was true from the very beginning.
I
Is that
think so.
true?
I think so. But that's a whole other story, and I know where that's coming from.
Well, yeah, because that's why some people in my church say that the church is Israel,
Yeah.
spiritual Israel.
Yeah.
But it was always true.
It was always true.
Or
I think-
Ruth would have not been able to be converted, even if she said, my God will be your God. It wouldn't have been able to happen if they weren't part of salvation from the beginning.
They were part of salvation from the beginning.
And Paul was just reiterating that. He
That they
wasn't. Paul couldn't say something new.
Yeah.
He wasn't. That was impossible. He could only talk about what had already happened, just like he was testifying about Jesus dying.
Right. So, okay. We're going to pray and just thank God for His beautiful word that interconnects and gives us all the answers. Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are a good God. You are a God who thought of both the Jews, who were your people, and the Gentiles, who were your people. And we thank you, Lord, that we were always included in some way, shape, or form. I praise your name. I thank you, Heavenly Father, for this group of people, for the way that they were interested and love your word and want to know your word. And we give you praise and thank you in Christ's precious name. Amen. Amen. Okay, you were a good group. Good group. One slept through, but that's all right.
What's that? Oh, one slept.
You didn't sleep. Did you turn it off?
Oh!
I didn't